Welcome everyone, Costin here with a discussion about the Greenskin Legendary Lord changes, specifically Skarsnik and Wurzag, the Great Green Prophet. So, with regards to Skarsnik, his campaign has always felt to some degree limited for a fairly long time because it is a Warhammer 1 campaign that in a lot of ways has lacked updates since that particular time. And changing the starting position in Warhammer 3, yes, it did help the campaign, as did other changes in Warhammer 3, but for a fairly long time, Skarsnik felt incredibly limited. One of the reasons behind that is you couldn't recruit orcs unless you had Caracade Peaks. And it wasn't a case, oh, you get Caracade Peaks, you can now recruit orcs. No, it's a case of you can only recruit orcs from Caracade Peaks itself. But now, that has changed quite a bit. So you used to have a landmark over here that was allowing you to recruit orcs, but that's been changed. So this gives you recruit rank +2 for goblins and night goblin, all characters, then higher level lord recruit rank. All levels lord recruit rank, all the way up to +4 recruit rank, +20 leadership for goblins and night goblins, as well as recruit rank for goblins, night goblins, and unit experience per turn. That is what you get for controlling Caracade Peaks. You no longer have a specific barracks over there just to train orcs. So that has changed. So you still can't recruit orcs until you get Caracade Peaks. You don't have access to the orc barracks change. So no spear boys, no orc boys, no black orc big bosses, no black orcs. Although it kind of should be pointed out that the actual garrison of Caracade Peaks, interestingly enough, it's still a full-strength garrison if you're playing Skarsnik, not necessarily if you're playing someone else. So just something worth pointing out with regards to all of that. You still start with tier 2 goblin units, so you do have a goblin big boss from the very beginning of your campaign. You do have the ability of recruiting nasty skulkers from the beginning of your campaign, and now you do also have access to squigs. If you get the DLC, one of the best things you could probably do would be to get the squig cages in order to get the Night Goblin big boss, as well as being able to get Mangler squigs and Night Goblin squig hoppers. So that would be the first order of business. That's what's been changed with regards to like recruitment, hero situation, all that. But that's not all with regards to Skarsnik. The landmark over here has also been changed, the Brightstone Mine. So it's less money, but you do get +4 recruit rank for squig units, -5% upkeep for squig units, and 25% mass for squig units. Also, quite crucially, you are able, through this landmark, to recruit colossal squigs, which otherwise would require you to get to tier 4. You'd probably still want to get the squig chasm because, Night Goblin big bosses would be useful for that particular purpose. But all the same, you do have a landmark that you would get access to at tier 3 that would give you all kind of squig recruitment choices. You won't be able to recruit as many units as you could before, so that is something of a downside because they've reduced the number of units you can recruit in a single turn. But between nasty skulkers and squigs, you will be in a much better situation with Skarsnik, I'd argue. And also, it's like but more importantly, you have longer term viability in a campaign because not having big guns, not having black orcs, or severely limited in terms of recruitment, did hurt Skarsnik's long-term potential. Now, faction effect-wise, you still gain 100% character experience for all heroes, and greenskin heroes, you can acquire them easier in quite a few ways because you can recruit all of them at tier 2. Sure, you do need Caracade Peaks for the Black Orc big bosses. You have hero actions cost -50%, still that, 15% ambush success chance, -20% goblin and squig unit upkeep. So it's been reduced from 40%, but it now applies to squigs. So you're going to be paying very, very little, far less anyway, to maintain large armies of squigs. They're really trying to push that particular situation with regards to all of that. Furthermore, with regards to Skarsnik, he does start with a number of upgrades over here that for goblins, like he can get skin sacks, 45% ammunition, he can get Night Goblin poison, and because of the way the scrap changes have been made, you can now give multiple scrap upgrades on units, which is particularly useful when you're talking about things like Night Goblins and Night Goblin Fanatics, because now you can get like that poison and also the leadership and melee defense benefit, and the armor-piercing weapon damage. So that is significantly more useful. But I'd say the biggest win for Skarsnik is his Lord effect. He now has the stalking stance. Ooh. So he now has an ambush attack stance that he didn't have before. This is something he certainly needed, at the very least, to make him more unique, better. So the thing about Skarsnik, he's got a skill line that gives you a bunch of benefits with ambushing, right? So ambush success chance, melee attack during ambushes, melee attack, all these kind of things, benefits for Night Goblins. These make sense in an ambush playstyle, but using regular ambushing is not really freaking worth it when you're playing. Like, you're greenskins. You've got one of the flat strongest early game armies in the game in a lot of ways, or you did with a lot of numbers. You didn't need to freaking ambush. But now you get leadership, melee defense for Night Goblins, so you're incentivized, at least with Skarsnik, to recruit Night Goblins, to play that kind of playstyle. I wouldn't necessarily say there's a reason to recruit a Night Goblin War Boss. I think that they could really use, I don't know, a special skill that could unlock stalking for them just specifically, because as it stands, like, Goblin Great Shamans are still better at leading Goblin armies because of the armor benefit that they give for, you know, nasty skulkers and all that kind of stuff. And even for Night Goblins, just kind of not worth it in a lot of ways to worry about, to get those kind of benefits. Otherwise, the skill line is the same, so he still has the skill. Never get the skill, because like you want other lords to level up as much as possible, so this is genuinely a net negative. It's just not worth it in any way, shape, or form. Oh, you can recruit Goblin Big Bosses and Night Goblin Shamans. Yeah, they're not freaking worth bothering with from my personal perspective. You can still get shamans, orc shamans from the shaman hut before you get Carucate Peaks, so there's no real point to bother with that particular skill. But those are the kind of benefits that Skarsnik now has. Whether or not it's a campaign worth playing, I'll leave that up to you. Like, I'll admit that if I'm playing a Greenskin campaign, it's going to be very hard for me to move away from Grimgore. Just worth saying that particular... just worth making that particular point. But let's move on to Wurzag. Now, with respect to Wurzag, his starting position has been changed over here to the central jungles. He still starts with the Savage Orc Gathering, and it will take him 2 turns to be able to acquire Savage Orc Archers and other Savage Orc units. He does have 2 armies next to him, including a Settlement Garrison, but these are just goblins. Goblins versus Savage Orc Biggins, Archer Boys, Boar Boys, Giants. Yeah, they're not going to stand much of a chance. And these guys, they used to start at war with Tic-Tac-Toe. If you're not playing Wurzag, the regions over here outside of the capital are under the control of these guys, but if you're playing Wurzag, they do start under the control of Tic-Tac-Toe. So basically, what's going to happen over here, the faction leader over here is close enough. So you may want to at least fight this battle manually, because you might be able to get those rock lobbers, which you may want under your direct control. Very quickly over here. But yeah, these battles are very easy, though I'm using AR mods to just, auto-resolve it. But I would recommend fighting that second battle at least manually. And if you're quick enough, you might even be able to sack it. This specific settlement. Which, yeah, money. Money. And then, yeah, just start recruiting a bunch of Savage Orcs, Squigs, whatever you want, basically. And move on Tic-Tac-Toe, fight them. because you are playing greenskins, you do have access to the underway. You also have access to certain upgrades over here for Savage Orc units. Quite a few of them unlocked from the very beginning. So you can get charge bonus, you can reduce enemy spell resistance, you can get armor for these guys if you want to, for all these guys. So you can make them more durable. And this is not just for Wurzag. This is for all Savage Orcs faction-wide. So if we look... So we get like Idol of Gork for all units. So if we look at what that is over there, where's that idol? Like, it's kind of weird because there is no. There's the Idol of Gork for Savage Orcs, right? Fair enough, right there. But apparently not for regular Savage Orcs, but for big guns, maybe just something. But it's not just one particular upgrade; it is multiple upgrades that Wurzag does have access to very quickly over here. So that's the first point. The yellow tic-tac-toe using the underway. You can you can get the Savage Orc recruitment building in any settlement, and the great thing about this, make what you will about regular Savage Orcs or Savage Orc Archers, though I think Savage Orc Archers are pretty good as far as Orc Archer units are. But here's the crazy freaking thing. Savage Orc Boar Boy Big Guns and Savage Orc Big Guns, yeah, those are really good infantry units that you do have access to. So that's a point in his favor. Then you get the Great Green Prophet, which gives Savage Orcs 15% physical resistance, Wurzag's Wa, charge bonus, recruitment cost for Savage Orcs. So the charge bonus used to be faction-wide. It's now specific to Wurzag. And I just want to look at the unit and spell browser over here. So Savage Orcs, did they change Savage Orcs to have physical resistance inherently, or was that the thing beforehand? I'm not sure. I don't think it was there beforehand. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be wrong, could be right. I don't know. So that's one of the things. You can get a bunch of physical resistance on Savage Orcs. You can get a bunch of upgrades for Wurzag's army, at least. In terms of his special skill line. So you get the skill line at 12, you get one at 10. So there's some differences over here. You get Mumbo Jumbo Chant. So base weapon damage, armor piercing damage, melee attack, leadership for allies in range. But you do have to stand still. And then you have the paint skills at level 10. You can paint infantry, boars, or basically monster units. You can get all of these skills as Wurzag. This doesn't just apply, though, to Savage Orc units. It applies to all Orc units, including Black Orcs. So yeah, think of Black Orcs with physical resistance, and you kind of start understanding what's gonna be crazy. Or Boar Boys, regular Boar Boys, not just not just Savage Orc Biggins, but regular Orc Boar Boys or Boar Boy Biggins. You kind of start understanding exactly what's going on. But these guys have frenzy, physical resistance. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Did they really? I didn't look at the balance changes, but I could be wrong. But I don't think Savage Orcs had frenzy and physical resistance inherently. Like Wurzag could give it to them. Okay, so that's so Savage Orcs seem a lot more viable. Then at level 12, you do get various melee attack, charge bonus, cooldown benefits, magical attacks. You can also strip away any spell resistance they may have. Speed, melee defense, perfect vigor, and wins a magic cost for Foot of Gork. So those are the kind of changes made to Wurzag, maybe to Savage Orcs. But there is more on this. Oh yes, quite a bit more. If you get Omens of Destruction, you get access to the Savage Orc Great Shaman. Now, with the Savage Orc Great Shaman, you can't get all of the paint skills. You gotta choose one. You do have this skill line, so various benefits to Savage Orcs, including armor piercing. Maybe Wurzag should get armor piercing, but then again, he's probably freaking ridiculous anyway. But melee attack, charge bonus, melee defense, rather. But you can still get that 10% physical resistance for Savage Orcs, which, yeah, that's pretty freaking crazy. So, you want full-on orc army of savage orcs just steamrolling everything. You want to really feel the wah as opposed to the more disciplined playstyle of the orcs that you see with black orcs. This is the campaign for you, more or less. Lots of magic, lots of power, lots of melee capabilities that just Vlad didn't exist before. I will check the details on that. If I'm wrong, I'll post a comment. If I'm right, I won't say anything. But pretty damn certain savage orcs did not have freaking physical resistance, at least. So yeah, that's what they've changed to Wurzag. He's benefiting more from things that have been done in the DLC as opposed to any kind of like rework, though he does have a better skill line. His starting position, by the way, regarding that, has been taken over. Like Clan Worms is in 2 of these regions. Then you have the Thief Snatchers controlling Ekrund. There's no landmarks over there, so if you're playing a Greenskin campaign, you can probably ignore that entire area. Though it is a 4-region province, so you might benefit from, you know, taking over all that kind of stuff. That's all I had to say. Christine signing out.